Hey guys, it's Steph from the Hot Moon Podcast. And one of the biggest college football headlines is not even related to actual football. You know what I'm saying? And we are still talking about Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, right? I don't know if they're engaged or not. Who knows? All right. I mean, this whole thing really got kick-started, okay, when she was on the CBS he was doing the CBS interview to promote his book. Okay, and obviously there were some questions being asked about, his personal life and as it relates to Jordan Hudson, his girlfriend, and she was like, we're not answering that. And then, I mean, it's just been a crazy deep dive into her, apparently her, amassing $8 million worth of real estate property through Bill Belichick or whatever. Then you find out that, her mom runs a weird store. Okay. They said they met on the plane, and that's fine, whatever. The age gap, obviously 73, she's 24. Look, we can joke about the age gap, but that's not really the problem. The problem is that Bill Belichick is this highly decorated NFL coach who couldn't get a job in the NFL, right? And then, there's rumblings that could she have been tied to that? I'm hearing things about intellectual property, trying to, get Patriots intellectual property rights or whatever, trademarking it, something to that effect. Okay, she is just, Bill, he hired his girlfriend to run his social media, help run his public image, and UNC is not happy about it, right? So, look, man, you never mix business and pleasure. And someone who is smart as Bill, when he used to coach New England, he always tried to come across as the smartest guy in the room. Okay, no distractions, tight-lipped, buttoned up, and this is the most we've seen Bill Belichick being exposed on the public side as it pertains to his personal life and his side piece girlfriend, who's now in charge of running his empire. I mean, this guy, to put his brand in the hands of her, and she is tarnishing his brand day by day, but he's in love, right? We're not going to question his love for her or her love for him. Clearly they have whatever type of arrangement / transaction going on, but UNC is not happy about it. Now, as big as Bill Belichick is in terms of being a head coach and winning 8 championships, 6 with the Patriots, 2 with the Giants. Okay, he is not bigger than UNC, the brand. Okay, the Jordan brand is school known for their basketball history. Football they're a big D1 school. I know their football isn't as big as basketball, but UNC football is still a respectable football program. Okay, they still have a lot of donors in that South Bible Belt region. Okay, in the Carolinas, and UNC is a staple in that region. And for him to come down from the Northeast to the South with all this nonsense and drama, the guy who is all about no distractions and drama, it leads a lot of people to question: is he going to even coach this team, right? And I know that's been floating around. I know he has a buyout clause and all that stuff. And so here's one of the things, I'm getting this from the New York Post, and it's saying that UNC brass is scratching their heads over the odd behavior by Jordan Hudson and Bill Belichick. Yes, I agree. Odd behavior, very weird couple, right? Okay, so UNC brass is trying to separate Bill Belichick, the football coach, from his persona on social media amid the fallout from his relationship with 24-year-old Jordan Hudson. According to the Washington Post, in a story published on Tuesday, one UNC official explained that Bill Belichick, 73, has 2 different sides, and that Hudson is in charge of his public image outside of the football program. It's just so odd, said an anonymous UNC official, and we just don't know what's coming. Those two decide what they're going to do, and they do it, right? Look, as much as Bill Belichick has kind of made himself kind of look like a fool and embarrass his own legacy, like we're talking about, not his greatness as a coach, not in terms of, we're not talking about, the expectations and how hyped we are for the football program, and who are the recruits, what's the expectation this season, how's the recruitment been going, how's the NIL been going, how's the transfer portal been going, what are the realistic expectations for this football program. No, it hasn't been none of that on the macro scale. I'm sure maybe on the smaller scale, people in the know in that area probably know what's going on with the program, and they probably speak about that a little bit more. But I mean, from a great NFL head coach to be coming down to a big D1 school to coach and be in charge of whole football operations and program, we're not hearing much about that on a national level, which is absolutely crazy, right? I mean, you would think that the college landscape would be happy and thrilled, and there'll be good news talking about Bill Belichick being the head coach of Carolina and kind of resurrect that program and take it even to further heights. No, You know what I'm saying? And it's gotten weird. You know, she's in these emails, CC'd on these emails in communication with the school. Okay. Then there's this weird story that she was not allowed at facilities. Then the UNC shut that down. So UNC got their own concerns, but they're trying to play damage control and not upset Bill Belichick and make this whole relationship thing blow out of proportion. You know what I'm saying? But it's already done that. It's already gotten to levels of how can he coach his team, right? How can you have this guy on the sideline now? Okay, now look, okay, you know what? You can, but you have to be, he has to win out the gate. You know what I'm saying? The team has to be good out the gate, winning football games. Now, if they're losing football games, okay, she's present at these games. The camera's panning on Bill Belichick's girlfriend, you know, nonstop on her reactions, kind of a la almost like a Taylor Swift type of situation where they're always going to look for Jordan Hudson. You know what I'm saying? Where is she at the game? You know, we're talking about her and the relationship as opposed to football and what's expected. And yo, I mean, they're UNC trying to play damage control, but they're the ones that paid this fool. You know, there's a reason why the NFL didn't want him there. You know, I'm surprised we haven't really done a deep dive into that, but maybe there's not really much deep dive to do into that because he wasn't that good at New England once Tom Brady left. Outside that one season going to the playoffs with Mac Jones, outside of that, the rest has been abysmal. You know, this is where we're at with Bill Belichick. You know, it's a shame, you know, and like just his image has been completely tarnished. I mean, you saw how he looked on the CBS interview wearing a sweatered shirt with holes all over it. She's in charge of his public image. That's what they want to portray. You know, the school didn't know what they were getting themselves into, and they got into it deep. Now they have a back door based on the contract, I believe, and how it's set up, that his buyout could be very cheap when he reaches a certain date. So maybe then before the season starts, I think like somewhere around June or something like that. I don't know. I've heard that somewhere. But I mean, it's game time for UNC. It's game time for UNC football in their school because he's made the school a laughing stock now, right? Everything associated that we dive into, that she does, you know, and we raising the question. It's going to be UNC coach Bill Belichick, UNC coach girlfriend Jordan Hudson, UNC, and there's nothing positive in the headlines. And he's the guy, king of no distraction, and he has been the ultimate distraction with him and his girlfriend in making this business decision, mixing pleasure and business, which is absolutely wild to me. I'm not saying that don't happen, but with other people that are not as big as them. But when you're big as Bill Belichick, how could he? I think he's just naive, you know, and for her, young. You know what I'm saying? She's not mature. Don't seem like she's mature enough to handle the spotlight, and didn't handle herself well once she did that CBS. Once that CBS interview leaked, that's when the floodgates really opened. I know there was already rumblings prior to that happening, but it just kind of opened the doors to really analyze what's going on at UNC, man. Crazy what Bill Belichick has done to himself and his legacy, all because of some side piece action that he met on the plane and decided to get her involved in real estate and all this other stuff. It's a relationship, but you know what? I mean, this is what comes to the territory. I mean, Bill Belichick, just because we're kind of like, we don't want to dance around it, but it looks like he's been taken for a ride, man, and he's just doubling down. You know, I don't think he's even aware that he's being taken for a ride, and we're seeing it on full display for a guy of his stature. Absolutely wild, man. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. I'm out.